WollyV with us. Uh, One of my favorite artists in comics right now. I'm a good friend. Thank you for being with us, Wally.
Man, I appreciate being here. You're too kind, my friend. Too kind.
I guess the first thing I gotta ask is I ask everybody, what childhood, I guess, comic book personality did you see yourself being the most, or what you really liked? What was the something you saw that said, "Hey, I like that, and I want to do that when I get older"? Which
Uh,
character or artist got you in that?
um, the character was probably either Spider Man or Batman, and Spider Man because he was like the regular guy,
Yeah,
and and that feeling of anybody could, you hear people talk about it all the time, but anybody could be under that mask technically. Like there was no way to tell who he actually was unless he took the mask off and you saw it. And it was the idea of him having to balance all the things he had to deal with as a person and still try to be a good guy. So I always thought that made him different from some of the other superheroes. Superman is Superman, and
yeah,
Hulk is the Hulk. But like, here's this guy with all these powers and going through it in life, but he's still choosing to try and do the right thing. So that always was cool to me. Always appealed to me. I like Batman on the flip side because he had to be a tad bit crazy to have all the money in the world and still choose to run around in tights and go, fight crime. So I always thought that was kind of interesting dynamic. But it also spoke to some degree about the torment that he dealt with in his character as a person, because he could have been doing a lot of other things. So I always thought those two things was real dope. And as far as artists, two artists that influenced me heavy was a guy named Ernie Barnes. I don't know if you guys ever watched the show called Good Times.
oh
But
yeah,
there's a character on there. Yeah, JJ used to paint the paintings, but when I was young, I thought JJ actually was painting those paintings, but then I came to find out it was an artist named Ernie Barnes. I just like how he elongated characters and exaggerated their looks. And then from the other side, I think that was the first time I saw somebody of color, somebody black, doing art, and it was out in the world. So it was like, wow, maybe I could do something like this. You know what I'm saying? So it was this whole other dynamic. And then I got introduced to Todd McFarlane. Not literally, but his comic book.
yeah,
And the guy that introduced me to his books was a guy I would have never thought even read a comic. You know what I'm saying? Like his whole background said, I don't even know what a comic book is. What is that word? And then he was like, yo, you ever seen this guy? And I'm like, what? You got a comic book? And he just put me into this whole other world of Todd McFarlane. He was like, the difference between this Spider-Man and that Spider-Man? Todd McFarlane drew it. Look at his webs, look at his fingers, look at this, look at that. And I'm like, wow, there's a difference in what Spider-Man can look like. Before that, it was just everybody drew Spider-Man. He just had the webs and he was Spider-Man. But he's like, nah, look at how these webs curve and look at how his fingers are and look at how he does the webbing when he draws it. I'm like, oh, wow. So that all opened my eyes up to the idea of doing art and what could be done with art. Before that, I think I was pretty limited on my idea of what any of it was and could be.
yeah. I'm glad for Todd McFarlane and other artists and such as yourself, because you look back in the history of comics, they look like a comic strip, and it's not until the recent 80s and 90s that you see more art in a comic book, not just
Right,
pictures of people. It's
right,
actual real
right,
art, and I love that. And he brought this up over here with the work you did, and I was like, wow, that is amazing. That's art. That's not a picture of a comic book. That's a piece of art that should be hung up.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and
Appreciate
I think you're welcome. And I love stuff like that because it gives more depth and meaning to the character that you're trying to relate to, that the writer's writing. Because I don't think people would gather that if someone's writing and someone's drawing, and they just
Right.
haven't figured that out. So how'd you get started in doing all the actual doing artwork and doing the comic books?
Well, as far as a kid, I just did what every kid probably did, scribbled on whatever I can get my hands on, and got in trouble. And I realized sometimes I paid better attention in class if I was drawing, even though the teachers didn't always think that made sense. But I went to a convention, a Heroes Con one year. I'm like 1,000 years old now, so I don't remember how old I was when this happened. But
Join the crowd.
so the first one I went to, well, the first real one I went to, McFarlane was there. So I stood in line for like hours or something just to have 10 seconds in front of this dude to say, yeah, one day I'm going to get to work with you, which is a cliche thing that anybody's going to say.
Yeah.
A kid like, yeah, I'm going to work with you one day.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, keep working hard. It's going to happen. And then as he's signing the autograph, the big security dudes move me on and like hand me my book and like, yeah, get the hell out of line. I was like, remember the show? So, they moved me on, but I came back maybe a year or two later, and there was a crew there called Dragon Clan. And Dragon Clan to me was the equivalent of the Wu-Tang in hip-hop. Like, there was like 30 of them.
Yeah.
And when they set up shop, you had no choice but to see them because they took up a ton of space. Each artist was diverse, but was very dope. And I remember standing there talking to, and I may be screwing his name up, Daryl. I don't remember what his artist name might have been back then, but I was talking to him because I walked down the whole line looking at all their work. And I get to him and I'm like, yo, you guys are dope, blah, blah, blah. Man, one day I hope to be doing what y'all doing. And he's like, he just looks at me with this weird look like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what, you gonna fight me? So like, what did I do wrong? Like,
yeah.
He's like, man, the only difference between us and you is you chose to stand on that side of the table. We chose to be over here. And it was like, wow, my brain blew up. Like,
wow.
Like, so this is all about choices? Like,
yeah.
I'm doing this to myself? Like, I could be over there? And he's like, man, look, grab your stuff, come sit down with us and just watch us for a few hours. If you got time, just sit down and watch how we do things and take in what you can take in. And hopefully the next time I see you, you will be on the other side of the table. So, like, they let me sit with them, like, half a day or something, man. And I'm watching them talk to people, interact, discuss their artwork, sell prints, take commissions. And I'm like, blown away that all I had to do was sit down. Just by sitting there, people were like, oh, what does he do? And I'm like, with these guys, because at that time I didn't have much to offer, but I learned a lot. And I left and I took that whole next year just trying to build up. And I still didn't have much by the time, you have a big plan, but it don't quite go that way. Yeah. But that led to me doing my first convention and kind of testing the waters. And I think that was one of Dave and Rick's shows, one of their cons. And then I did Heroes that next same year and just continue to build it up from there and start learning about networking and
Yeah.
Forgive me for these stories being so long.
No, take it. It's interesting. A lot of hear stories like that because, being around here, you don't get to run into a lot of artists, a lot of writers. It's just because everybody's so spread out now more than ever because of the internet. You can send your stuff straight through. You don't have, or you can mail it through. It ain't like what it was when Stan Lee was in the '60s. Everybody was one building together. So you don't get to hear these stories. You don't get to see things. And all the comic cons and stuff that go on, they're all over the place now. And everybody's so spread out. So I enjoy this, actually. Yeah. Thank you so much. I enjoy stories like this. And here,
I appreciate y'all letting me talk your heads off.
No, that's fine. I do have one question, though. It kind of has bugged me since Michael told me. He said that before you became an artist, you were a rapper. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, how does one go from transition from that to drawing?
Yeah. Well, I think I used to do both simultaneously for a little while in life quietly. Mm-hmm. So it was like more just a love for music, but I didn't really have a voice to sing, so I couldn't sing. And also, singers want us gangsters, rappers, so it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna run around saying I'm a singer unless I can really sing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the art was just always a part of it too. Like they both were kind of an escape for me. And it was weird because what happened was I would go through these phases where I was more productive in one than the other. So the other one would kind of be like the relaxing thing. Mm-hmm. And the one that wasn't the relaxing thing would be this is helping me pay bills or helping me do things or whatever. And for a long time, I thought music was going to be like, this is going to be my payday. Like I'm going to be able to succeed and do things for my family and take this to a whole nother level. So, I traveled selling CDs out of backpacks. Like I learned to record and engineer and mix, but the whole time I'm still drawing. But I started to see certain things about the business of music, which I'm sure is similar with the business of art as well, but it was a little different. And I started to see music changing, and I started to see the quality of music changing and people's concern for it changing and how people treated it changing. And so my love for it as far as trying to make a living out of it sort of fade. And it was like, you know what, this is becoming more of a hassle than something I care about, and I don't want to lose love for music because of the business. So around that time, I had got with a group of guys, and we formed a group called God City, which was the mathematical play off of Charlotte's area code 704. G is the 7th letter of the alphabet, 0 being equivalent to a cipher, a complete circle, or O, and D being the 4th letter. So we formed God City from the area code, and our whole thing was, people thought we were like a religious group, but our whole thing was just to play off of the word God, the 704 area code, and this idea of each person kind of setting the standard for who they were, because our group was pretty diverse as we grew. And we started doing art shows. Like, we wanted to get into the art world, and it was like, we can do conventions, or we can break into these galleries, and we fought our way into the galleries, and that's sort of the transition into me saying, you know what, I'm going to take this art a little more serious as well. And I used the little bit of a reputation I had built from music and travels with music to help bring attention to what I was doing with the art. And so a lot of the people who would come to my hip-hop shows and hip-hop events came out to our art shows, or they came to the conventions, and that's when you start to realize a lot of people who love all types of music also like comics, or they like, dope graffiti pieces or whatever it might be. They have a love for art too. So it was like, okay, cool. All these worlds go hand in hand. I need to expand this a little bit more. But then it got to a place where I was able to actually travel and do cons and see other places. So it was like, I can now let art kind of be the forefront thing. I just need to get better at it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of the weird roundabout transition of time circling and me saying, okay, I'm never gonna necessarily make $1 billion off of this like I planned. So I'm stop doing this hip hop thing and still have a love for it, but I'm gonna step to the side with that and focus on the art, which is weird because even with that, I still was able to meet a lot of people and do a lot of things with music because of the art, and vice versa that I never imagined I'd be able to do. So it's cool,
That's awesome. I like that. Yeah, it definitely gives you a networking thing that you can do. Anytime it's a stepping stone to go with your love. That's what I like to do. I started out as an artist drawing in high school. Same thing as most kids, dribbling. I found I'm not that great at it. I'm okay, but then I found a love for doing rocks and building things, and I've enjoyed that. Which when I do one of them, it's there at that person's place, and nobody else gets to see it. It's a picture, I take. So the artwork though, when you're drawing though, which I love looking at artwork. I'm not the best at it. He's the better one of it, definitely by far. Yeah, he is. And don't let him fool you. And I love to see like you was talking about earlier. In Spider-Man, all the different characters, the fingers, the webbing. Just the different characters, and you can just tell each artist's style is the same as the music. Each artist's style and music is totally different. You can see the I guess the progression of the one person too, going through when they're doing each artwork as it gets farther and farther down through time, how it gets better and how it gets more diverse and how it gets more detailed, and you don't even need the words by the time they're done to see the artwork.
Right.
And and there's not there's a few artists that can do that, and I've noticed with the pictures he brought and what he's told me, I can see that. That is also awesome.
I appreciate that.
No problem. I guess what's your ultimate collaboration that you want to do before it's all said and done, before you retire? What book or company or writer or character would you like to work with? You can do all separate, or you can name one kind of specific thing that you would like to do before you retire.
Oh man, well, it's a weird thing for me, right? So as far as just things I would like to do, of course, one day I would love to, because I haven't worked with Marvel, but I also haven't pursued that. Like, I've talked to a lot of companies, but Marvel is one of the few I haven't really pursued. But I would love to, on a personal level, do something with Spider-Man that's official.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do something with Batman that's official, just because those are my two guys.
Yes.
But my ultimate thing, and work with McFarlane, I would like to make that happen, like whether it be a cover or whatever, just because of the impact artistically he had in my life. Mr. Arnie Barnes unfortunately passed away a few years ago, so I would never get to do that.
Yeah.
But my ultimate thing, man, is what I would like to do in it's all said and done, is have left artwork that speaks certain volumes to people, hopefully have left an impact on people that changes and influences their directions, and hopefully created things aside from the big companies, but with other indie guys and girls and men, women, whoever. I don't know what's the politically correct thing to say. I don't want to get in no trouble.
Understand.
Hopefully we have done things visually, creatively, bought books out and put projects out and had different people work with each other who maybe wouldn't have done it before or had a chance to before or thought about it before, and just leave a small legacy that says, we did it. We created things, we put them out, we maybe didn't become billionaires off of it, but we enjoyed it. We had a great time doing it, and it's still affecting people, a million years after we're gone. Like, that's become more of a thing for me, ownership, and just being able to stand behind things that I've helped create and been a part of, and seeing other people grow and do what they want to do. They're bringing me food. I'm sorry. This is probably the worst interview.
No, you're fine.
That interview we had with Wally where he had locked his family out anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing, man. Just to leave an impact on other people and for my kids.
Definitely.
Just see their dad accomplishing things, and hopefully it inspires them to accomplish things that seem impossible, but really aren't once you get down to the meat of it. That'd be it.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. I respect that because leaving that legacy behind. I built these beautiful ponds and stuff for people. That was my rock and joy, and I left them in people's houses. And they said, do you feel bad? I said, no, I don't, because I left it for you to enjoy for your life as something I know I did, and I respect that from you. That's awesome. And definitely working with Batman. Batman's one of my all-time favorite characters growing up. That was, it was the first one that I introduced. I'm like, oh, who is this guy? And I remember tell my age here. I remember when I was 12 years old and going to 12 years old, 13 years old, going to see the Michael Keaton version. So now I was like, I was so and just amazed with that, and that's how I got started into all the comics. And that would be my dream, just to be there, to be a part of that process and to be that, and I can understand that. So I guess my other question is, what currently are you working on right now? What do you have coming up?
Man, so every year I do this list of a million things I want to do in a year.
Yeah, don't we all?
And then, and then reality kicks in, and it's like, bro, come on. You knew there was no way you was going to do all this. But I live by a code when it comes to certain things where it's set the standard as high as it would be if you had all the abilities in the world, and then get to work and see where you end up when it's all said and done. And that way you're never spending a lot of time looking back. You're constantly looking forward, and you're just building, and hopefully during that journey you look up and say, okay, I didn't quite get there, I got here, this is why I got here. Now next year I can set the standard a little bit higher. And still maybe not meet it, but I'll get somewhere a little closer than I was last time. But so this year, I'm working on Skull Kids, which is right now the big personal project. Mike is actually going to do some inking on some of the original pages for that, and he's been super kind enough to be patient and support and help and jump in on that. Fairy Tale Nights Volume 2 is being mapped. It's pretty much mapped out. We're just retweaking some things. I don't know that it'll come out this year, but we're definitely trying to have 2 and 3 ready. So if we decide to jump into it, we can. We're actually working on a card game for it as well, and that's kind of going slow because of me. I haven't had time to really help put the aspects of the game into real life scenarios. So we're working on that. I'm working on Ace Blade issue 3 for Fourth Wall with Danny Quick and his crew, and I think we're supposed to do 4. And we're working out something with another character here to kind of co-own that character. So we're going to redevelop it, revamp it, and put it out, or put samplers out in November at North Carolina Comic Con. And then next year actually launch the book. It's his character, King Supreme. I thought it was a dope character, but sometimes when I meet other creators, and I think they're brilliant with certain things, but they get caught up in trying to do things the Marvel DC way, because it's the way that we all have seen for so long. Even if you're not a big reader of comics, Marvel and DC. And my thing is, we're independent. We can do whatever we want. Like,
Right.
it just comes down to us, like what we decide to do.
Yeah.
So that's another one of those, getting different creators together and just trying to push the boundaries. So I have a book called Once Emperors that we're working on. We have a few things we got to send back to DC Young Animals, proposals that may or may not get picked up. I've been back and forth having conversations with them for since November, I think, and nothing has panned out so far. But the door is still there. The door is still open. A couple of things I'm working on that hopefully you'll see publication with IDW, but still, it's a weird thing about the comic industry. Well, I guess gaming too, but more comics. Like, a lot of things are conversations that sound great at first, and then they turn into a lot of waiting, a lot of back and forth, and eventually, something happens. But in the moment, you're excited, like, yes, this is about to be it. I'm about to be, woo! I've been crawling, here I come. And then it just don't happen. And then people are looking at you like, "Yo, what happened with that thing?" So I learned to stop even talking about certain things. But on my side, right now, Skull Kids is the big thing. Like, getting that finished for the fall. And once that's done, I don't know, man. Just I guess keep up with me, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, you're making me tired
Never
already.
know. Yeah, I might start rapping again.
No, stick to the art, man. That's awesome. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, man. You made me tired. Just all the stuff you just started naming off. I'm like, man, that's more than I do in 2 years' time. Good grief. But
I got a slight cheat advantage, I guess, because I do it full time, so I can manage my time differently than most people. But I'm always telling people too, on the flip side, because I hear people like, "Oh man, you do this for a living? Oh man, if I could do it for a living, I get so much done." And I'd be like, "No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because life is still going to be life, and as much as you like to, you're still going to find yourself having those stuck moments, those creative blocks, those things you got to. I have days where I'm sitting there stuck on one thing, like the whole day, just trying to get an angle right because it's not working, and I know it's not working, and I could get past it and just leave it, but it would be horrible in the back of my mind. So it's like, or I'm sending out emails, I'm looking for work, I'm negotiating work, I'm trying to answer responses to things, or whatever. Do my social media, which can take up anybody's life for a day if you're not careful. So I'm always telling people, like, it's a gift and a curse to work as a freelance artist. But the flip side of it is, if you don't work, you don't eat. So you have to constantly be looking for more work. And sometimes that work is just like any other job, except that you're drawing, you're doing art. But if you don't get that done, a bill doesn't get paid, and you're more frustrated than you were if you were going to a job every day, which, don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful to be in the position I'm in and just working to make it more stable so that I don't have to be as concerned and get to that point where I can just work on what I want to work on completely every day, all day, and play video games at the time,
Oh yeah. I wish I played video games more. I don't get to do that as much. And talking about social media, and I'm sort of like, it takes up my time, and we're sitting here interviewing for social media. So the irony of that. But I'm enjoyed talking to you, Wally. This has been awesome to hear about the work and how you came and what your future, and that's awesome. I've enjoyed this time, and thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. I was super excited and hoping that I help bring. Anytime I get to do something with somebody, I hope that I can bring something to the table that helps them as much as they're trying to help me. I just feel like that's the balance that it should be in life. Of course, there's nothing wrong with people just looking out, but I just always want to hope that I can do something that helps. So hopefully, 5 people I know will come check something out and tell somebody else, and that'll be 5 more people. I'm really, word of mouth is a huge thing. It helped fund 3 of my books so far. So, I just believe in it. So hopefully somebody will care and say, see what this big-headed guy is talking about. See what he brought to the table,
I'll link your website.
I appreciate it.
I'll link your website and all that in the description so people know where to find you and find your books.
And I appreciate y'all very, very much, bro. Much success to what y'all are doing. I think it's going to keep growing. I think a month from now, you guys will look back and be super comfortable compared to where you are now. Yeah. Just because all the kinks will be getting worked out, and your direction will continue to grow. anything I've ever watched and liked, I saw it develop and become, you know, more focused and powerful as it went along. And that's just the nature of things. So
It is.
I'm pretty sure y'all already know that, but I just want to stress it. Like, keep going. Don't let yourself slow down because of feeling like, oh, we got to get used to this. Mike, get used to hearing your voice, man.
Yeah.
Record yourself on your phone and just play it back to yourself over and over again until you get comfortable with it. It's gonna be a fun ride. I can already tell.
All right, thank you so much, Wally. We'll get you on another year or something, or actually less than that, because I enjoyed talking to you. So this has actually been awesome for me, as much as it is for him, because he gets to talk to you on a more regular basis than I do. So but anyway, thank you for coming on, and much success to you and everything you do. And I know you'll have more success because the artwork I've seen is awesome. So,
I appreciate that,
and I've enjoyed to see more coming from you. All right, thank you,
man. I thank y'all, man.
No problem, man.
I'm going here and get yelled at by my family for life.
Tell them it's our fault.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, later.